Welcome to another Deep Dives, everyone. Today we're going to do something that I think is super important for everyone to understand, but a lot of people don't.
Right. Yeah.
Taxes.
Yes.
U.S. taxes specifically.
Mm.
And we are going to use the 2023 IRS Publication 17 as our guide.
Our roadmap.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Our treasure map.
Our treasure map. I like that. So, this publication, it's basically like the rule book, right?
It is.
But it can be a little bit dry.
A little bit.
But we're going to try to, spice things up a little bit.
Absolutely. And there are definitely some fascinating things hidden inside that we can uncover together.
Exactly. And we're going to help you decipher this treasure map.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Think of this deep dive as your shortcut.
Your shortcut.
To understanding this crazy world of taxes.
Right.
Without having to wade through all that jargon yourself.
Exactly. And Publication 17 actually starts with this really basic question.
Right.
Do you even need to file a tax return?
Oh, that's a good question.
You might be surprised.
Yeah.
How many people don't?
Yeah, I think there's this misconception that if you earn money, you have to file.
Right. It's more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
The Publication 17 lays out some of the key factors, so things like citizenship and residency and your income all play a role.
So, there are certain income thresholds.
Yeah, there are specific income thresholds for different filing statuses. So, for instance, for a single individual, if your income is below $13,850, you likely don't need to file.
Okay.
But if you're married filing jointly, that threshold jumps up to $27,700.
So are those numbers, just random?
They're not random.
Or is there some kind of logic behind them?
They're based on what the IRS considers the standard deduction and personal exemptions.
Okay.
So these are designed to ensure that if you earn below a certain level, you're not burdened with having to file.
So the IRS is basically like, hey, if you're making less than this, you probably don't owe us anything.
Right. And we're not even going to make you go through the hassle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But, for those of us who do need to file, the next big hurdle is figuring out what counts as income.
Exactly. And that's where this concept of gross income comes in.
Okay. Tell me more about gross income.
And this is where things get a little tricky.
Okay.
Because the IRS definition goes beyond just your regular paycheck.
Okay. So what are some of the things that fall under this IRS definition of income?
Well, Publication 17 is very clear. It's not just money.
Okay.
Gross income includes anything you receive in the form of money, goods, property, and even services.
Whoa.
So they're looking at the whole picture
of
what you're receiving, regardless of the form it takes.
So let's say I'm a freelance graphic designer and I barter my design services for a new laptop. Does that count as income?
You got it.
Really?
Even though no money changed hands?
Wow.
You still receive something of value in exchange for your services.
Okay.
And the IRS sees that as income.
So they want a piece of that laptop.
Yeah, you'd have to report the fair market value of that laptop.
That is something I would not have thought about.
Yeah.
So, okay, once you figured out if you need to file and what counts as income, then what? Then comes the process of actually filing right.
Then comes the fun part.
Yeah.
And luckily, Publication 17 walks you through your different options.
Okay.
Including the much-loved e-file.
Yeah, I cannot imagine.
I know.
Going back to the days of paper forms and snail mail.
Right.
E-filing just makes everything so much faster.
Absolutely. And Publication 17 really highlights the accuracy and the security of using e-file. And it also mentions all the free resources available to help people, like the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program.
Yeah, those are super helpful.
Yeah, if you need a little extra help.
One thing that I thought was really cool about e-filing is the ability to split your refund into different accounts. Like you can even send part of it straight to your IRA.
It's amazing, right?
That's amazing.
You can automate your savings right from your tax return.
Yes.
Love it. It's a great way to make your tax refund work for you.
Okay, so that leads us to our next topic, right?
It does.
Withholding.
Withholding.
This mysterious process.
Yes.
That determines how much tax gets taken out of each paycheck.
Right.
Enter Form W-4.
Everybody's favorite.
I'll admit, this is a little intimidating.
It can be.
For me.
But Publication 17 does a good job of demystifying it.
Okay.
It breaks down each section of the W-4, and it explains how your choices impact your tax liability at the end of the year.
Okay, so is it possible to have, like, too much withheld from your paycheck?
It is.
Because I've heard of people getting these big refunds.
Right.
But isn't that basically just like giving the government an interest-free loan?
That's a great point.
Right.
It's all about finding the right balance.
Yeah.
You don't want to owe a huge sum come tax time.
Right.
But you also don't want to overpay
Yeah.
throughout the year and give the IRS that free loan. Yes, exactly.
Publication 17 even highlights a scenario where you might be exempt from withholding altogether.
Wait, really?
Yes.
You can get your entire paycheck without any taxes taken out.
It's possible, but only under certain circumstances.
Okay.
If your income is below a certain level, you might qualify for an exemption.
Gotcha. So it's important to understand your specific situation.
Exactly.
Before you go claiming that.
Yes.
So Publication 17 is like our guide to figuring out this withholding puzzle.
Yes.
And avoiding any surprises when we file.
It empowers you to take control of your withholding.
I like that.
And make sure it aligns with your goals.
Perfect. Okay, so we've talked about who needs to file, what counts as income, and the ins and outs of withholding. But now I want to know about those tax breaks and strategies that can help us keep more of our hard-earned money.
Oh, yeah, and Publication 17 doesn't disappoint there.
Okay, good.
It's like it's revealing these secrets to a whole hidden world of tax benefits. Okay, I'm ready. I'm all ears.
All right, so for starters, Publication 17 highlights several types of income that the IRS simply doesn't tax.
Okay.
Did you know that certain disaster relief payments are completely tax-free?
Oh.
Or that if you receive a gift, you generally don't have to pay taxes on it.
Wait, so if my grandma gives me like $10,000 for my birthday, I don't have to tell the IRS about that?
You'd be surprised. Gifts are generally not taxable to the recipient.
Wow.
Although there might be some reporting requirements for the giver if the amount is very large.
Okay.
But for most typical gifts, you're in the clear.
Amazing. What other tax-free treasures are hiding in Publication 17?
Well, it also covers certain types of government benefits.
Like what?
Like Medicare benefits. But those are tax-free, which is a huge relief for a lot of people.
Totally.
And then there are energy conservation subsidies.
So like if I install solar panels on my roof, I could get a tax break.
Exactly. There are tax credits available for making energy-efficient upgrades to your home.
Awesome. So it's not just about minimizing your taxes. It's also about...
It's about making smart choices.
Yeah.
That could actually save you money in the long run.
Right.
And benefit the environment.
I love that. Okay, well, speaking of long-term savings.
Yes.
Publication 17 devotes a significant section to retirement planning.
Yes.
And the power of deferrals.
Deferrals.
Okay. Retirement planning, something I need to get more serious about.
We all do.
I know putting money in a 401k or an IRA is a good idea.
Right.
But to be honest, the whole thing just seems a little overwhelming.
I understand. You know. But Publication 17 breaks it down really well.
Okay.
And explains why these retirement plans are so beneficial from a tax perspective.
Okay. Convince me why I should prioritize retirement savings when I have so many other financial demands right now.
Well, the beauty of retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs is that they allow you to defer paying taxes on the money you contribute.
Okay.
It's like getting a discount on your taxes now while also investing in your future.
So the money that I put in my 401k isn't taxed until I withdraw it in retirement.
That's right. And in the meantime, that money is growing tax-free, compounding over time.
That's awesome.
Publication 17 even highlights this concept of elective deferral, which basically means you get to choose how much of your pre-tax income goes into these accounts.
So I'm controlling how much of my income gets taxed now versus later.
Exactly.
That's awesome. But are there any downsides to these retirement plans?
Well, you can't just withdraw the money whenever you want without penalty.
Okay.
The IRS sets rules and age limits for withdrawals to encourage long-term savings.
Makes sense.
But Publication 17 goes through all those rules in detail.
Okay, good.
So you'll know what you're getting into.
This is starting to make a lot more sense.
Good.
It feels less like I'm just handing my money over to the IRS.
Right.
And more like I'm strategically managing my finances.
That's exactly what you're doing. And speaking of strategically managing your money. Publication 17 also covers another important topic, rollovers.
Rollovers, I've heard of those.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure what they are or why they're important.
So think of a rollover like a safe and efficient way to move your retirement savings around without getting penalized by the IRS.
Yeah.
So let's say you change jobs and you have money in a 401k from your previous employer.
Okay. Yeah, I've been there.
What do you do with that money?
Right. What do you do with that money?
Well, you could cash it out,
Oh.
but then you'd get hit with a big tax bill.
Right.
A rollover allows you to transfer that money directly to another retirement account, like an IRA, without having to pay taxes on it immediately.
So it's like a seamless transition for your retirement savings. So they're not stuck or taxed unnecessarily.
Exactly.
But are there any rules or deadlines that I need to be aware of?
Yeah. Publication 17 stresses how important it is to follow those IRS guidelines to avoid those penalties.
Right.
So there's something called the 60-day rule.
The 60-day rule.
You have 60 days to complete the rollover without incurring taxes.
Oh, it's like a race against the clock.
It is. But it's a race worth winning.
I like it. I like it. So rollovers are powerful.
They can be.
For managing your retirement savings.
Especially if you're changing jobs or consolidating accounts.
Right. Okay, so we've covered some awesome tax benefits.
Yeah.
And strategies.
We have.
But let's be honest. Sometimes, even with the best planning, we might still find ourselves owing the IRS some money.
It happens.
So is there anything in Publication 17 about how to handle that situation?
There is.
Okay, good.
It actually provides some guidance on payment options.
Okay.
And it even addresses the dreaded topic of penalties.
Oh, no, penalty. Okay, now I'm a little nervous. What kind of penalties are we talking about?
Well, the IRS can impose penalties for a variety of reasons. So things like filing late or paying late or underpaying your taxes.
Oh, I see.
But Publication 17 also highlights this concept of reasonable cause.
So if I have a good excuse for messing up, the IRS might cut me some slack?
Exactly. Life happens.
Yeah.
And the IRS understands that.
Okay.
So if you have a legitimate reason for filing or paying late, like a serious illness or natural disaster, you can request what's called penalty abatement.
Penalty abatement.
But you need to be able to document that situation and really demonstrate that you acted in good faith.
So communication is key.
Communication is key.
Don't just ignore the IRS and hope they go away.
No, they will find you.
So Publication 17 really emphasizes that communication with the IRS is so important if you encounter any kind of difficulty.
They're often willing to work with taxpayers who are upfront and proactive.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
It sounds like Publication 17 is not just a boring old rule book.
Right.
It's a really valuable resource.
It is.
For understanding our rights and options as taxpayers.
Exactly. It empowers you to navigate the tax system
Yes.
with confidence and knowledge.
I love that.
Yep.
All right, so we've uncovered so many awesome insights from Publication 17.
We have.
It's amazing how much info is packed into this thing.
It is.
But what's been the most impactful takeaway for you?
I think what really stood out to me was how Publication 17 emphasizes our rights as taxpayers.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to feel intimidated by the IRS.
Totally.
But just knowing we have these rights and protections can make a huge difference.
Right, so we're not just passive players in this system. We actually have agency and recourse if things go wrong.
Publication 17 lays out the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which outlines these key protections.
Okay, like what?
For instance, you have the right to representation.
Okay.
Meaning you can hire someone to help you navigate this process.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Just knowing I can seek expert help if I need to.
Yeah, whether that's a tax preparer or an attorney.
Yeah, totally. But even with professional help, it seems like having solid records is just crucial.
It's absolutely essential.
Right.
Publication 17 is very clear about the importance of record keeping.
Yeah.
You need to have documentation to back up your claims.
It's like building a strong case.
It is.
You need evidence to support your claims.
In case the IRS comes knocking.
Right. What if you realize you made a mistake on a previous tax return?
Well, Publication 17 addresses that too.
Oh, good.
It explains how to amend a return.
Okay.
Using Form 1040X.
1040X. Okay.
And guess what?
What?
Having good records is essential in this process as well.
Makes sense.
You need to show the IRS what you originally reported and how you are correcting it.
So even if you mess up, it's not the end of the world.
No.
There's a process in place to fix it.
There is.
But hopefully we can avoid those mistakes in the first place.
Exactly. And speaking of avoiding mistakes, Publication 17 provides this helpful overview of common errors that people make.
Like what?
Like forgetting to report all your income.
Okay. Yeah.
Or claiming deductions you're not eligible for.
Yeah. Okay.
So by understanding these common pitfalls, we can be more diligent and avoid unnecessary headaches.
It's like a cheat sheet.
It is.
For navigating the tax system. But, even with the best intentions, sometimes life throws us curveballs.
It does.
What if something unexpected happens and you just can't meet a tax deadline?
Publication 17 emphasizes that communication is key in the situations.
Right.
If you know you're going to miss a deadline, reach out to the IRS, explain your situation. They might be willing to grant you an extension or work with you on a payment plan.
So it's a reminder that the IRS is not this faceless, unforgiving entity.
They're human too.
They understand.
They do.
That people face challenges, and they're often willing to be flexible if you're honest and proactive.
Absolutely.
That's good to know. And lastly, I think it's worth noting that Publication 17 goes beyond just income taxes.
Yes, it does.
It talks about other aspects of our financial lives.
Like estate taxes and gift taxes.
Like a comprehensive guide to navigating this whole world of taxes.
That's a great way to put it.
No matter what stage of life you're in.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a resource you can refer to throughout your life.
Exactly.
As your financial situation evolves.
Well, this has been an awesome deep dive.
It has.
Into the world of IRS Publication 17.
Yes.
We covered a lot of ground.
A lot.
From the basics of filing to those advanced strategies for minimizing our tax burden.
The key takeaway for me is that knowledge is power when it comes to taxes.
Totally.
The more we understand the rules and our options, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions and protect ourselves.
Exactly. So now that you've got a glimpse of what Publication 17 has to offer, we encourage you to explore it further.
Yes.
It's readily available online.
It is.
And it really is a treasure trove of valuable information.
It is.
So remember, this deep dive is just the beginning.
It is.
There's a whole world of tax knowledge out there waiting to be discovered.
Go explore.
Go explore. Happy exploring.
Happy exploring.
All right, we'll see you in our next deep dive.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we've talked about who needs to file and what counts as income and all that fun stuff with withholding.
Yeah.
But now I want to know about those tax breaks.
Okay.
And strategies.
Yeah.
That can help us keep more of our hard-earned money.
And Publication 17 does not disappoint there.
Okay, good. Tell me more.
It's like it reveals a whole secret world.
Oh, like it.
Of tax benefits.
I'm all ears.
For starters, Publication 17 highlights several types of income that the IRS simply does not tax. Did you know, for instance, that certain disaster relief payments are completely tax-free?
Wow, okay.
And if you receive a gift,
you
generally don't have to pay taxes on it.
So if my grandma gives me like $10,000 for my birthday, I don't have to report that.
You'd be surprised gifts are generally not taxable to the recipient.
Okay.
Although there might be some reporting requirements for the giver if the amount is very large.
Okay.
But for most typical gifts, you're in the clear.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What other tax-free treasures are hiding in here?
Well, it also covers certain types of government benefits, like Medicare benefits, for example.
Okay.
Those are tax-free.
Makes sense.
Huge relief for people who rely on those.
Totally.
And then there are energy conservation subsidies.
So like if I put solar panels on my roof.
Exactly. There are tax credits available for homeowners who make energy-efficient upgrades.
So cool.
To their homes.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's not just about minimizing your taxes. It's about making smart choices. That could save you money and benefit the environment in the long run.
Exactly. Love it.
And speaking of long-term savings, Publication 17 has a whole section on retirement planning.
Retirement planning. Okay.
The power of deferrals.
Yes. Something I need to get more serious about.
It's something we all need to get more serious about.
Yeah, for sure.
So I know putting money into a 401k or IRA is a good idea.
Yeah.
But to be honest, the whole thing is a little overwhelming.
I know, right? It's just like,
I understand, but Publication 17 breaks it down really well.
Okay, good.
Explains why these retirement plans are so beneficial from a tax perspective.
Okay, so convince me why I should prioritize retirement savings when I have so many other things I need to spend money on right now.
So the beauty of retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs is that they allowed you to defer paying taxes on the money you contribute.
I see.
So it's like you're getting a discount on your taxes now.
I like discounts.
We all do, while also investing in your future.
So the money I put in my 401k doesn't get taxed until I take it out when I retire.
That's right. And in the meantime, that money is growing tax-free, compounding over time.
That's amazing.
Publication 17 highlights this concept of elective deferral.
Okay.
Which basically means you choose how much of your pre-tax income goes directly into these accounts.
So I'm controlling how much of my income gets taxed now versus later.
That's the beauty of it.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But are there any downsides?
Well, you can't just withdraw that money whenever you want without penalty.
Oh, right.
So the IRS sets rules,
Okay.
age limits for withdrawals to encourage that long-term savings.
Okay, makes sense.
Publication 17 goes through all those rules in detail, so you'll know exactly what you're getting into.
This is starting to make a lot more sense now.
Good.
Yeah, I like it. It feels less like I'm just handing my money over to the IRS.
Right.
And more like I'm strategically managing my finances.
That's exactly what you're doing. And speaking of strategically managing your finance, Publication 17 also covers another important topic.
Rollovers. Rollovers, I've heard of those, but to be honest, I'm not really sure what they are.
Yeah, so think of a rollover like a safe and efficient way to move your retirement savings around.
Okay.
Without getting penalized for the IRS. Right. So let's say you change jobs and you have money in a 401k from your previous employer.
Okay, yeah, I've been there.
What do you do with that money?
Exactly, what do you do?
Well, you could cash it out.
Oh.
But then you get hit with a big tax bill.
Right.
A rollover lets you transfer that money directly to another retirement account, like an IRA.
Okay.
Without having to pay taxes on it immediately.
So it's like a seamless transition to your retirement savings.
Yes, it prevents them from getting stuck or taxed unnecessarily.
Right, but are there any like rules or deadlines?
Publication 17 really stresses the importance of following the IRS guidelines to avoid penalties.
Okay.
There's this thing called the 60-day rule.
The 60-day rule.
You have 60 days to complete the rollover.
Oh, wow.
Without incurring taxes.
It's a race against the clock.
It is, but it's a race worth winning.
I like it. Okay, so rollovers can be super powerful.
They're very powerful.
For managing those retirement savings.
Especially if you're changing jobs or consolidating accounts.
Right. Okay, so we've covered some awesome tax benefits.
Yeah, we have.
And strategies. But let's be honest, sometimes, even with the best planning.
Right.
You might still owe the IRS some money.
It happens.
So is there anything in Publication 17
there is
about how to handle that?
It provides some guidance on payment options and even addresses the topic of penalties.
Oh, no, penalties.
I know. It's everybody's least favorite thing to talk about.
Yeah, what kind of penalties are we talking about?
Well, the IRS can impose penalties for a variety of reasons, like filing late, paying late, or underpaying your taxes.
Okay, right.
But Publication 17 highlights this concept of reasonable cause.
So, like, if I have a good excuse for messing up.
Yeah. Life happens. And the IRS understands that if you have a legitimate reason for filing late or paying late, like, let's say, a serious illness or a natural disaster, you can request what's called penalty abatement.
Penalty abatement. So they might cut you some slack.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you need to document that situation and demonstrate that you acted in good faith.
So communication is key.
Communication is key. Don't just ignore the IRS and hope they go away.
They'll find you.
They will.
Okay, good to know.
Publication 17 emphasizes the importance of communicating with them if you encounter difficulties.
Okay.
Because they're often willing to work with taxpayers who are upfront and proactive.
That's reassuring. So it sounds like this publication is not just a boring rule book.
Right.
It's a really valuable resource.
It's a guide.
For understanding our rights.
Exactly. And options.
As taxpayers.
And it empowers you to navigate the tax system with more confidence and knowledge.
Absolutely. I love that. All right, so we've uncovered a ton of awesome insights.
We have.
From Publication 17.
It's amazing how much information is packed into this document.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's been like the most impactful takeaway for you?
You know, I think what really stands out to me is how Publication 17 really emphasizes our rights as taxpayers.
Yes.
It's so easy to feel intimidated by the IRS.
Right.
But knowing we have rights and protections can make a huge difference.
Totally. It's like we're not just passive players in this system.
Right.
We actually have agency and recourse if things go wrong.
Publication 17 lays out the Taxpayer Bill of Rights.
Okay.
Which outlines some of these key protections.
Okay, like what?
So, for instance, you have the right to representation, meaning you can hire someone to help you navigate this whole process.
Okay.
Whether that's a professional tax preparer or an attorney.
That makes me feel so much better just knowing that I can seek expert help if I need it.
Absolutely.
But even with professional help, it seems like having good records is just crucial.
It's absolutely essential.
Yeah, right.
Publication 17 is very clear.
Yeah.
About the importance of record keeping.
Okay.
You need to have documentation to back up your claims.
Right. It's like building a strong case.
It is. You need the evidence to support your claims just in case the IRS comes knocking.
Right, exactly. What if you realize you made a mistake on a previous return?
Well, Publication 17 addresses that as well.
Okay.
It explains how to amend a return.
Okay.
Using Form 1040X.
1040X. Okay. And guess what? Having good records is essential for this process as well.
Makes sense.
You need to be able to show the IRS what you originally reported and how you're correcting it.
Right. So even if you mess up, it's not the end of the world.
No.
There's a process in place to fix it.
There is.
But hopefully we can avoid those mistakes in the first place.
Exactly. And speaking of avoiding mistakes.
Yeah. Publication 17 actually provides this helpful overview of common errors that people make.
Oh, like what?
Like forgetting to report all of your income.
Yeah, right.
Or claiming deductions you're not eligible for.
Oh, okay.
So by understanding those common pitfalls, we can be more diligent and avoid unnecessary headaches down the road.
Right. It's like a cheat sheet.
Yeah, it is.
For navigating the tax system.
Exactly.
But even with the best intentions, sometimes life throws us a curveball.
It does.
What if something happens and you just can't meet a deadline?
Well, Publication 17 emphasizes that communication is key in those situations.
Okay.
So if you know you're going to miss a deadline, reach out to the IRS, explain your situation. They might be willing to grant you an extension or work with you on a payment plan.
Right. So it's a good reminder that the IRS is not this faceless, unforgiving entity.
Right. They understand that people face challenges, and they're often willing to be flexible if you're honest and upfront with them.
That's good to know. And I think lastly, it's worth noting that Publication 17 goes beyond just income taxes.
It does, yes.
It touches on other aspects of our financial lives.
Yeah.
Like estate taxes and gift taxes.
Yes, very important things to consider.
Right. It's like a comprehensive guide.
Yeah, it is.
In navigating this whole world of taxes, no matter what stage of life you're in.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's a resource we can refer to throughout our lives.
As things change.
As our financial situations evolve.
Exactly.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
Into the world of IRS Publication 17.
It has.
I feel like we've covered so much ground.
We have, from the basics of filing to those more advanced strategies for minimizing our tax burden.
Right, but the key takeaway for me is that knowledge is power when it comes to taxes.
Absolutely.
The more we understand the rules and our options, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions and protect our financial well-being.
So true.
So now that you've gotten a glimpse of what Publication 17 has to offer,
I really encourage you to explore it further. It's readily available online.
Yeah.
It's a treasure trove of valuable information.
It really is.
Yes.
So remember, this deep dive is just the beginning.
The beginning.
There's a whole world of tax knowledge.
That's right.
Out there waiting to be discovered.
Go explore.
Happy exploring, everyone.
Happy exploring.